yesterday we saw car moving and we saw a few squeaks from this rear brake. So today we're going to try taking this, having a look at this. We'll bleed all the brakes as well, and then we're going to have a look at the clutch, try bleeding that again, see what we find there. We're going to try doing this on a time lapse as a slightly different approach. So this all looks okay to me in here. We've got some fluff in there, but that wouldn't make it squeak. Okay, these all look fairly new. Got plenty on there. It all looks like it's connected up properly to me. I haven't actually touched it. So, yeah, this I mean, these are, you can see that to take this off you've got to push it in and turn it, so that's okay. Same on this side. So we've got this, what's this? And that's all connected up properly underneath. I'm surprised at how far this has come in, but but everything there looks more or less okay. So whether or not it just needs a bit of cleaning and wearing in, but I can't see anything wrong with this. Nothing obvious. Now there are places where you can add a bit of lubricant. I don't have the right lubricant for it to do it, so I'm not going to. But what I might do is, having bled everything, I might then try that if it doesn't go away. But to be honest, no, this looks, well, not that I'm an expert, but this looks okay to me, so now, thinking about it though, I wonder if this has an adjuster on it. So, handbrake is here, okay, which moves this. These old, I know used to get adjusters on these. I can't see one though on this side, and that would be just to, you know, get it to adjust as the brake pads wore. It's possible that there's something going on there which I'm missing, but I can't find anything, so I'm going to assume that that's actually okay. I'm going to try wearing it in a bit more first, and we'll go from there. Right, so the brake fluid looks a bit low, so we're going to add a bit of .4, and just to top it up, since we're going to bleed it, I don't mind it going a bit high, because we'll be taking some of the old stuff out the other side. So we'll bleed that, and let's see what we have. Okay, so this is my bleeding tool, and we're going to start at the back. I've loosened it off and I've left it dripping, which isn't the sensible thing to do. But the way this works is we just pump, and we can see it being pulled out. That's my understanding. And I'm guessing that we need to pump until we've only got fluid. not quite sure if I've got this working right at the moment. That would be an awful lot of air in the system if this is pulling out air still. So that's more like it. So I'll edit this too tight still. There we go. So we can tighten that up. And that is how easy this is to do in terms of bleeding. So you can tighten that off. And hopefully that will work for them. So I'm going to do the others. I won't bother to record those. I might put them on laps. And then we'll do the clutch. Okay, so we bled all of the brakes in the end, and we bled the clutch system. We then went for a short drive again in the neighbourhood, didn't record it this time. The squeak that I was hearing moved from rear left to rear right, so I think what we'll do is we'll try driving it for a little bit and see if it goes and if it's just there because of age. With the clutch, we got rid of the crunching on the gears as long as we had it fully depressed, I mean right to the floor. And that's fine for first and second, and then for first and reverse, and then it worked for second through fourth anyway. So again, I'm going to live with that for now. I think I'll test it a couple more times, but I think that looks okay and that I can move on to other things. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so we need a number plate for the front. These brackets are for the rubber bumper, these ones here. So we're going to try fabricating some others. We'll take this number plate off for the time being, but I'm looking to reuse this. So we've taken the bolts off. They still seem fairly stuck on there though, so we'll have to have a look at that. And I think we might end up having to cut off these screws in order to get it. But I mean, the number plate, so such bad condition, it's not usable anyway. So we'll clean this up, get rid of the rust, paint it up, and then look to fit a new number plate. Alright, so we've got it apart, we've been doing some cleaning. So what do we have here? We had a screw, this long screw, went through here. Behind there we had a plastic washer, so some sort of spacer really. This has been roughly cleaned off. I'm going to apply rust converter for the rest, both inside and out, and then paint it. So that's what we had there, and then we had the bracket going through, and we had this screw here. Then on the inside we again had a spacer. Then we had this. Then we did have a washer as well, and then a bolt. So we will replicate that. Oh, there's the washers. We had a washer and then a bolt. So these are in pretty horrible condition. So we're going to replace the screws and the bolts and these screws with something new. But we will hold on to these plastic spacers. We'll probably, I mean, these are probably metal and just need cleaning up, or we might put in new ones. Actually that might be rubber. Yeah, it's bending as if it's rubber, but we might just put in some metal ones. So that's what we're going to do, but we're going to start by cleaning this up, and then we're going to look at how to fabricate something for the chrome bumper. So if we look here, this is where it's going to go on. And I've had a look, and they, let's see, how do they go down, up, and then flat, so that it's held like that. So I'm going to try to fabricate something that does something similar, one for each side. I don't know if you saw that. Down, up and down, I think is what they look like. I'll have another look. I mean, I don't see why I don't just do a up and down type bracket, to be honest. And then we can put a bolt through, and then this can go on here. I think that makes more sense myself. So I think we will look to make a bracket that looks like that, or two, one for either side. And we'll just use some steel for that, rather than getting one already specifically made. So that's what we're going to do now. So I've just folded these two pieces of metal. They'll fit over the holes there, like that, one on either side. And then they might need trimming a little bit, but they should just about fit inside this as well on the inside. So yes, I think this one's going to need to be trimmed down a little bit. So this one's a bit long. So in fact I'll trim that down now, and then I'm just going to paint those as well to protect them. And I'll drill the holes. Or maybe actually it's easier to do the holes now, at least for the ones that are connected to the chrome, because I can paint black against silver. So I think what we'll do is we'll drill the holes out. Yeah, we'll drill out the holes, and then we'll paint them. So we've given those brackets a coat of paint. We'll give them one more coat later, and then we'll look to fit those onto the car tomorrow, and then we can look at getting a number plate for the front, which would be a nice thing to do. Well, I'm going to have to change the actual number plate, but here we have it installed, so that looks okay. So that bracket system seems to have worked perfectly well, so that's what we're going to go with. Right, so we've got quite a rattle from the front of the engine here, and I've done a bit of reading about it, and in terms of in the engine block itself, it seems the most common thing is the timing tensioner. But the first thing to do is to check if it's actually in the engine or outside. So if we look at, what the pulley, this lot pulls, if we take this off, we can find out if the rattle is actually in the alternator or in the water pump, which I think is what these two will be. So we're going to loosen off the alternator, take off the belt, and see if we've still got the rattle, and that will tell us a bit more clearly where it's coming from. I don't know that we'll then fix it, but at least it starts us diagnosing for future work. Okay, well obviously I cannot run this for very long, but I can hear that the rattle is gone, so the rattle isn't in the engine, which is great news. I'll just have to have a think about which one it is in now. Okay, so we know it's not the engine, so this belt is a shorter one. This is an 813, and it's a bit tight, but I've just connected it up here, and we're going to try running it, and we'll see what kind of noise we get.
Okay, and there we have our engine noise back, so I think the issue is the water pump. I don't know if you could hear me there, but you could hear the engine a lot louder. So it sounds like the issue is in there with the water pump. So I can now have a read about that and see what I need to do to fix it. So we will be looking at that in a future episode rather than in this one. But at least we now need to know where we look. I think that's the water pump in there. Or something anyway. Whatever's in there is what we need to look at. Okay, as we just demonstrated, we're getting a lot of noise from in here, and we can see there that we've got some movement on it. So that would in itself, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's only sort of a millimetre maybe. But that in itself, you know, when you've got no movement there, no movement would be what is causing the noise, I would think. So I don't know if that's not done up properly or what, but what we'll have to do is take a look at that, see if we can work out what the issue is around here in order to quieten it down a little bit. Very good to know though that it's not the actual engine that's causing it, so we will take a look at that. We'll have a read on the internet about it first and then come back to see what the next step is.